most part, well, we'll make the ones that say emergency exits are behind you, the steps that you came up.
Inventing, building, and flying the world's first successful motor-operated airplane. The Wright brothers made their first controlled, sustained flight of a powered, heavier-than-air aircraft, the Wright Flyer, on December 17, 1908, at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. The brothers were also the first to invent aircraft controls that made fixed-wing flight even possible. So the Master Pilot Award is the most prestigious award the FAA issues to pilots. That's kind of funny in itself. A lot of our awards aren't that great, but this is the most prestigious that we have. And it's named after the Wright brothers to recognize individuals who have exhibited professionalism, skill, and aviation expertise for at least 50 years while piloting aircraft as master pilots. A master pilot is awarded a certificate, which will happen tonight, and once the award's been issued, the recipient's name is published on the FAA's Roll of Honor website. So as of yesterday, there are approximately 691,700 active pilots in the United States. And there are 9,642 master pilots in the United States, which is less than 1.4% of those active pilots. In Texas, there's 1,100 master pilots. And in my district, for the FAA here in Houston, 211. So we're about to add another 7 to this. To be eligible for the Wright Brothers Award, nominees must meet the following criteria. You have to have a pilot certificate. You have to be a U.S. citizen. They have to have 50 or more years of civil and or military flying experience. Let's see here. Oh yeah, 20 of the 50 can be military experience. And the effective date for the 50 years is the date of the nominee's first solo flight or military equivalent. The only thing we ask is they've never had a certificate revocated or revoked. In every pilot's career, there comes that one moment. But as long as you didn't get a certificate revoked, you're still eligible for this award. So I'm going to start out with
well, good evening, all. First, just a huge thanks to the FAA and to Lance for recognizing those who've flown safely for 5 decades, and also a big thanks to the local chapter of 99s who are helping host tonight, along with the West Houston folks. Woody, I have been proud to call West Houston home with our airplane, one of our airplanes, for 15 years, and you, the entire West Houston staff, instructors have just done a fantastic job.
The biggest one I ever flew was a P-3 Orion, and the fastest one I ever flew was an A-4 Skyhawk. And so all that's way back in the distant history. So I switched to general aviation after that, and over all the years I've been flying, I have experienced 2 in-flight engine outs, and I thought I'd share those with you guys because, you know, they're pretty exciting when they happen to you. And so the first one I think was about 1980, and I was flying a 172, and it was at night, and I just crossed Matagordo Bay and was climbing up over the Matagordo Peninsula, and the engine started making this kind of a chirping noise, sort of a chirp, 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 chirp kind of sound. And I thought, that's unusual. I wonder what's going on here. And then a few minutes later, a burning smell started to come into the cabin. And I thought, what's causing all this? And I knew on a 172, the alternator is belt driven. So So I thought, it's probably that alternator. I know they've worked on that. I bet that belt will burn off and continue on. And so a moment after that, the engine started rattling. It was making this kind of loud sort of noise. And I thought, that's not the alternator. And so I pulled the engine back to an idle, and the NTSB said later if I hadn't done that, because right after that the engine seized, he said if I hadn't done that, the engine might have torn off the front of the airplane. It would have had a completely different outcome. So pulled it back to an idle, and I crossed over. I knew there was a road there because I could see some taillights. So I thinking, well, that's where I'm going to have to land. And I started into a turn, and then the engine seized, and the momentum of the rotating engine and propeller was imparted to the airplane, so the airplane did a snap roll. And so the two women that were passengers in the back seat contributed to the experience by screaming. And so then I continued to roll on around and lined up on that runway, gravel road, did a little bit of a slip, got down and landed that airplane on a gravel road at night and middle of nowhere. And so as this all began, I made a distress call to the Lash's flight service station. There used to be a flight service station back then. And so then once I was on the ground, I couldn't talk to them. And I was fortunate there was an inbound Cardinal coming in, and they got him on 121.5. I could talk to him. They could talk to the flight service station. And I assured them we're on the ground, nobody's harmed, it wasn't a crash. And so they sent the sheriff out to get us. And so he got out there, a little airplane broken down on a gravel road. His first question is, where are the drugs? So fortunately, we didn't have any drugs. So I communicated back and forth with him and tried to establish any commonality, and it turned out I knew some police officers in Houston, and he knew one of them, and so since we both knew the same one, he figured that we were all right. And took us back to the flight service station, and anyway, the NTSB investigated that one because I said the word Mayday on the radio, and they interviewed, the airplane had an oil change the night before, and the NTSB went in, they separated the two mechanics. One guy took one that way, the other one took the other guy, and both mechanics said they changed the oil. And so obviously not both of them did. When they examined the engine, there was the oil drain plug had fallen out. So the theory is they just put it in finger tight, there's no safety wire on it. So that was the cause of that accident. My second in-flight emergency happened at Georgetown, and this was more recent. That first one I think was about 1980 or something. This next one was around 2010, and I was flying Cirrus SR-20, and I took off from one of the runways there, and right 20 seconds after lifting off, the engine lost power. It didn't completely stop, but began missing, and I couldn't get anything more than just like a fast idle out of it. And so I executed what I later learned is called an impossible turn. And so fortunately, there was a little bit of power coming from the engine, so I was able to make a 180-degree turn and land back on the same runway I'd just taken off from. And so the investigation of that one revealed that the induction manifold on the left side of the engine had broken off. The welds had snapped, and so half the cylinders weren't getting any fuel, and that was the cause of that one. So more recently, I upgraded to an SR-22, and mostly I just fly back and forth between this airport and Alpine Airport. And I've made that trip probably 100 times now, and my wife and I have a ranch out there, and so that trip is very well known to me at this point. I've tried to pass along some of the excitement in aviation. About 2 years ago, I had a foreign exchange student come and live with me out at the ranch. And he and his brother grew up in Sardinia, Italy. And they both applied to be hosted as exchange students in the United States. And his brother was chosen by one of there were about 15,000 exchange student hosting families in the U.S. His brother was chosen, but he was not, and he was very distraught about this. And the exchange service thought that the reason was he had listed his interests as aviation and astronomy, and so they figured that apparently none of the existing host families could check those two boxes. And so they sent out an email to all the host families in the United States, and my sister, who lives in Anchorage, Alaska, never had kids, and so she has hosted 2 exchange students in her home every year for 20 years now. And so by her reckoning, she has 40 kids. And so she called me up, started twisting my arm. You're ideal for this young man. And I was like, I don't know. I've never done this. This is kind of strange or something. And so she said, well, would you just call the boy and talk to him? Probably I don't speak Italian. And so after that, the exchange service called me and asked me to please call this boy. And so, all right, I'll call him. So I picked up the phone and I dialed this number in Sardinia, Italy. And his mom answered. She didn't speak any English, but she figured I was calling to talk to her son, so she got him on and I could chat with him. I figured I'd talk with him for about 10 minutes and wish him well or something like that. But instead we talked for 3 hours. It's amazing. At the end of those 3 hours, I realized this young boy is me when I was 16. So this got to happen. What do I got to do? So they do all these background checks on you and come in and look at your home to make sure it's suitable and confirm that the little tiny school in Fort Davis would take him as a student, And so he flew from Sardinia to Rome to Amsterdam to Newark and to Midland, all without any breaks. So I flew up to Midland and parked at Signature Air, got us 2 hotel rooms, and met him about 9 o'clock at night. He was exhausted. I took him to the hotel. So the next morning, we went out to the airport. We went through Signature. He was amazed. There's no TSA. And here we are walking around these 737s and out here on the tarmac, which was thought to be forbidden territory to normal people, until we could find where my Cirrus was parked. And so here he was. He hadn't even been in the United States for 24 hours now, and he's flying an airplane. And so I got him in that. I got a CFI to give him some lessons, and he never got a license, but anyway, he got a good introduction. So for his interest in astronomy, I met with Craig Nance, who's right back here. He was the director at the Powell Observatory at the time, and he's set it up for us to go up and sit with famous astronomers while they were observing. One night we went up and we sat with John Yeomans, who's the director of the Near-Earth Orbit Crossing Research Program, where they look for asteroids that are going to plow into Earth. And so anyway, Craig later went to the Keck Observatory, and he retired from there. But he helped, along with his successor, Tesney, to stimulate an interest in this boy in astronomy. Right now, he's a student at a university in Milan, and he's in an aerospace engineering program there. So another thing I did while I had him, he'd never seen snow, so we went up to my sister's house for the Iditarod, and boy did he see snow. So anyway, Woody wanted me to say something humorous, so I've been struggling to see what that might be. While I was being recruited by the Navy to get into their flight program, they said, well, you could do this, you could be a pilot, or you could do this, or you could be a pilot, or you could do this. I see, you keep saying be a pilot. Yeah, that's what we need the most of. And so one of the things they said that sweetened the pot is they said, by the way, a lot of people don't know this, but pilots get all the babes. And so that anyway was kind of interesting. So later on in life, I tried to see how true that was. There's a little 3-word phrase that all women very much want to hear their suitor say. It's used by all guys at some point in time, this 3-word phrase. And so I thought, well, I'll try that, So I was on this date with this woman. I kind of snuggled up next to her and I delicately whispered in her ear. I said, I'm a pilot. She said, what's that? so I must have had the wrong 3-word phrase. Anyway, that's my story.
So here's Clint's record. So all those stories about engine out landings and everything are not kept in here.
Oh, no, shucks.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, here's your first certificate, 12/31. Oh no, that's the expiration. 4/11/76.
Yeah, that was quite a while back.
And a 150.
Yeah, Hobby Airport. That was Lori Adams' plane. You know her, don't you?
Oh, I know. I knew me.
No, okay. Woody sure knows. She got this award, and he and I went to her presentation ceremony. When was that? Where was that?
It was in Smithville about, 6 years ago, 7, 8 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, Maybell's I actually did twice because hers got washed away in Hurricane Ike, and we went out to where she was staying and gave her another one. But Clint,
Thank you.
thank you very much, sir. This is in recognition of your 50 years of exemplary aviation flight experience, distinguished professionalism, and a steadfast commitment to aviation safety. The FAA says thank you, sir.
Thank you.
There you go.
Right, thank you.